Good morning. Bootstrap. What do we mean by bootstrap? It's kind of dynamism, is a sudden, impetuous dynamism that is pushing a person, giving a person a chance to move, to change. It's like an energy that is coming from nowhere, but it is coming from somewhere, from himself, based on a previous actions and intentions. Bootstrap is pushing, is going like in that dynamism. In a metaphysical world. What do we mean by metaphysical world? We mean whether it is in the interspace between this world and the next world, we call it in Arabic barzakh. Whether after that, human being, by the time he closes his eyes, is in a constant motion, stagnation, static. Motion stagnates up to him. What he did in his previous life or terrestrial world. Perhaps the word metaphysical is kind of like something is beyond the physical world. Therefore it is there. Therefore it doesn't concern me. Physicists, they say this independently from human being. And when it comes to astronomy, same thing. When it comes to astrophysics, the same thing. When in fact everything is combined, is related. An example I gave it previously somewhere. A physical encounter between a man and a woman, how long does it take in order for a man to put the sperm, to ejaculate the sperm in the uterus? It takes 30 minutes, 1 hour. How long does it take for the baby in his mother's womb, in the uterus, to be developed biologically? 9 months. And then when he finished, when the baby is developed, the woman doesn't have much of choice but to push him outside her body. Human being is the same thing about what he's doing here. He's just preparing. It's because of our blindness. Oh, you are here on one time, just take advantage of life. Human being is preparing this before he enters the womb of the earth, his grave. And that's the time when the biological composition starts. Oh, it's not a biological, spiritual, of course. That time when he finishes the period of time, then the land, his mother, pushes him outside to the land of resurrection. He's not there. Where is he? That is his metaphysical world. Somehow, it's strange. All the sciences are mastered, are developed, supposedly. Paying attention to them, supposedly. The real science that is after this world, that we were meant for that, is neglected, it's totally abandoned. Nobody pays attention to it except. This is in a verse where God said, he's talking about human being in general. Perhaps the disbelievers, targeting more the disbelievers, said they know the scratchy, the layer, they scratch the surface of this world, and they know nothing about the next world. Because in order to know about the next world, has nothing to do with your intellectual thought. The intellectual thoughts, they have to do with your behavior. If you behave as a servant, as a slave of God, Abdullah, you know what I'm saying? You will get something different. You maintain your primordial state of ubudiyah, servitude. Servitude, worship, built under the supervision of lordship, then you can think. Your thoughts probably are in the right place. But thinking intellectually, philosophically like this, you lose more than you gain. The real composition, the real life is what the time the person closes his eyes. The bootstrap. What do we mean? In other words, changing a station, changing from a situation to another one. Of course, it has to be prepared in a terrestrial world. Not change a person like this. We have a macrocosm. That's the world, the cosmos, the macrocosm, and we have the microcosm, which is human being, but we mean his brain, his mind. How come? The macrocosm is in a constant expansion. We know that. The constant, like thousands or million years ago, the world was not like this. It was condensed in one small agglomeration. Expansion. If you take, I don't have a balloon with me. So you have a balloon, for instance. You have points like this. You put points with your pen and you inflated the balloon with the air. You find those points, they start being dispersed, separated, far from each other. That's what's going on in the world. Yet, that's not what the astrophysics says. It says they are distant. Therefore, there is what you call a vacuum. In other words, emptiness. Be careful. You don't reach it with your naked eye, a telescope, or all your sophisticated computers, wherever. It doesn't mean it is empty. No, it is not. What you saw is just galaxies in a constant galaxies. Therefore, when you want to draw a map, which is the case on Earth here, it's not correct because it is changing all the time in a constant expansion. Now, that's the macro. Now, the micro human being has that potential. Where human being, where it has a potential to be actualized, but he is not actualizing it. He is actualizing it with his thoughts. He thinks only. Now, it's not something macro is like this and a micro is like this. You are between the two. It is yours inside, I understand, but the mesocosm, that's the one that facilitates, that's confirm the conformity. It's not just you abandon it and that's it. No. Something is in a constant expansion, and you, human being, it's not abandoning. It's a kind of smooth life. No, a person by living his micro static, he is compressing the universe. Can you imagine someone is making a hand wrestling the universe, just the Milky Way, the solar system, a Milky Way, you make a galaxy to stop it. You will be a loser. Well, loser, how do we know that? That's the stress of life. This is how we are living life. Stress, anxiety, and call it, and then melancholy, and then I want to leave this world by suicidal state. This is how we are living. We are seeking things in the creature. We're not meant for that. No. Good. Now, how to live in harmony with that macro is waiting for you. Is waiting for a human being. But our main topic is to change. A story about someone had a car accident and he was with, what do you call, like, with all these things around his body, pain and this in the hospital. You know what he said to a friend of mine? He said, I will ask God one thing, no more than that. I will ask God if I can just move without pain. I will not ask God anything more after that. If just I move without pain. Look at that. Now imagine someone is in one case of static situation after he closes his eyes. Here we are free, do whatever we want. We can change. I'm bored right now. I can change. I can go and have fun. There's nothing. The fun, you have to prepare it here. So, Bootstrap. What was revealed to human being in this jurisprudence? In other words, we have our will power. There's God's will. Most of the time, I claim that I have willpower. What kind of willpower? I decide whatever I want. I do whatever I want. I'm free will. Just leave it aside. I take right now, a pool, there is an interval, distance between the two. This wavelength, when I move in a locomotive, in other words, in sort of like cadence or pace, a flow of routine is driving me, a flow of desire is driving me. Do I claim physically that I am making an effort, physical effort? I'm driven by slack of my desires. A desire is driving me. In order for me to gain a muscle, it has to be another force contradicting me. I don't like it, but I exercise. Look at us. We go to the gym, we practice, I'm sweating and I'm lifting a weight to gain those muscles, and I know painful sometimes, but look, I know the results. I have a muscle. There's a force, is a gravity is contradicting me. I change positions like pull over, whatever, to exercise different muscles. But I know at the end I'm fine. I feel good. I shower, I sweat, I feel great. It's the same thing about forces, psychic forces. There's no force contradicting my desires. I do free will, but just I'm chasing after my desires, and yet I'm driven by my desire. From a pole, this interval, pace, cadence, call it whatever you want, or a wavelength from one to another, it's just a curriculum of desires. How can I claim, a bootstrap? And everything has to do with the psyche. There's nothing in this world that's more abandoned, neglected like the psyche. And it's because we gain some kind of like piece of paper in university, wherever, we think it's a big deal, I am, and I put it, hang it on the wall, and we are not using our psyche. It has nothing to do with this. It has nothing to do, it has to do with something. He's exercising his mind, who is the dominant impulse at the moment of the willpower. Here, a willpower could be mere creatures like me. The company has something, decision taken against my will, and I'm submissive to that. That's fine. That's a respect. We're not talking about these things, this respect, of course. We're talking about certain things that are totally against, would have something to do with the time. In jurisprudence in Islam, we have what we call the 5 components. Obligations, prohibitions. We have what we call commandable forces, reprehensible forces, and permissible behavior. The same thing. Sorry. As I said, obligations. Obligations meaning sometimes they are at the moment that I have to favor either my desire, my will, or his will. His will or my will. Your will, you can follow it. It's up to you. It has to do with my egoistic desires. What are my egoistic desires from the stomach and below? They are just putting me down, pushing me down. Stick to the earthy world. What kind of willpower? Insane. His willpower will lift you. Usually, I don't need to go not preaching this at the moment. I'm just giving some hints. Obligations, prohibitions. It's always a struggle with the ego. It's taking me and I'm making. One is like obligations. I have to achieve. I have to do. Another force is taking me back. Other things is attracting me. Desires attracting me to do something, prohibitions. And I'm abstaining. This is a form of abstention. And then we have commandable, which is, and reprehensible. We call this in Arabic makruh, mustahab, something you do it. You are not punished for that. But if you respect it, you will be rewarded. The other one, if you don't do it, you are not punished for that. But if you do it, you are rewarded for that. And we have the permissibility of permission, whatever permissible behavior. Nothing is said about this in life. Do whatever you want. But if you respect those, you can gain something nobody, that's a kingdom, potential kingdom, nobody knows about it except you and the Creator. Those forces, these are the bootstrap in your metaphysical world, or I should say, in the interspace. How can that be? You know, when we speak about conscience, when we speak about the brain is neurons, whatever. This is the concrete part. The brain. The mind, another word, conscience. But the conscience is including presence of mind. How can you speak about this when the person closes his eyes? Sleeping at night, God made this as a specimen, as kind of like a sample hints to what is in your life. What are the dreams? Dreams are showing us a lot of things, and you will know that they say in the Prophet's hadith, you say it's a part of the prophecy. You know, you are in Japan, in Tokyo, in your dream, drinking a cup of coffee, and then all of a sudden, is there a time between that time and you are in New York, giving a speech to people, and then in South Africa, eating a mango? Did you cross any distances? These are the distances because what was crossed outside in the world, the macrocosm, the external objective world, it is crossed in your mind. That's the similarities that are existing in the macro and in the micro. But these are hints. It's not because you ate, you know what I'm saying? You cross distance, this vastness is existing in the brain that don't exist. But the question how to navigate. This is the real bootstrap, changing a situation to another situation. You know, when we are sitting, we like always to relax, except if we are obliged by some creatures like us. You have to do, you have to work, you have to do. But doing good things, so picking about some moral values, I don't know, in general, we rarely think about that. You know what I'm saying? It's just an example, I don't know, it's like helping someone, it's always conditional. I have to gain something, I have nothing to do, you know, getting something from that person. You move this distance, you walk from here to there. Speaking about charity, as a general example, a charity, the way I feel, he has to come to look for me, and when I give it to him, I give it to him like this, you know, $1, whatever, it's like this, some on the top. When in fact, I'm more in need of him than he is in need of me. You know, talking about a wise thinker, it's not just, you know, the way our logic, our illogic logic. I'm a sick person, if something is going to really cause me something in my body, I look for a doctor. He's not going to look for me. Same thing with the dentist. You see those steps going for him. Nobody knows about them. Those steps, you are not crossing them here. You are crossing them up. Just an example. An old woman, sick person going to make peace between people. A couple are getting into divorce. You cross distances, you know. You are in New York, New Jersey, and you go all that New Jersey turnpike. You know what news is for them? It's just to try to make a peace of them. You save that family. You know what you're doing. Here is a harmony, nobody can share it with you. There is distances. Now, you cross a distance for what? When we speak about the wavelength, there's not such a thing, something is up there. You go to it. Every step. There is a beauty exposed in the macrocosm because it was in your microcosm in this world of blindness. every step, there is in the journey, not in the destination. The way we think here is a destination, is a kind of a destination almost became or preceding the departure point. The journey is consumed. So I like to reach there, I don't care, you know what I'm saying? No, this is different. This is every step of an action is a beauty exposed to the person. Listen, thank you for your attention. And may God open every door, 360 degrees of prosperity in front of you, behind you. I see you soon.